Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the 2020 Global Read Aloud. It is Mr. Sarlo here, and today we are reading Planet Omar, Accidental Trouble Magnet, and we are going to get into Chapter 12. Okay? So, in the last chapter, Omar and his family went to visit his cousins that live in Manchester. It's something that they do, I forget if they said every year or once in a while, but he was looking forward to visiting his cousin Riza to ask him about what Daniel had said about Omar being Muslim. And instead of kind of easing Omar's mind, Daniel kind of made things a little bit worse. Or I'm sorry, Riza made Omar feel a little bit worse by saying that, you know, they were going to kick them out of the country and they'd have to go back to Pakistan, and they're going to probably going to have a World War III, okay? Which is not true, but, you know, it's the way that they could feel sometime when people say those rude comments the way Daniel said to Omar about Muslim people. All right, so here goes with Chapter 12. One evening the following week, when we were putting our lasagna-covered dishes into the dishwasher, we heard an ambulance siren coming down our street. Miriam and I both raced to the window while Issa whined to be let down from the table. He was still eating, as usual, because he's super slow. The ambulance lights were flashing so brightly the whole room was lit up. Miriam and I pressed our faces to the glass. The ambulance had stopped next door, and the paramedics were hurrying toward the front door. "It's Mrs. Rogers," I said in surprise. "Oh, no," gasped Mom. Dad had his quick-thinking face on. "I should go," said Mom. "Should I go?" "I should go." Miriam said, "No way, she's horrible." Issa dropped his plate of freezing cold lasagna on the floor with a crash. Dad looked at it and breathed a sigh and ran his hand through his hair. He does that when he has his thinking face on. "What if she doesn't want me? What if she sends me away and shouts at me in front of them?" Mom said as she ran around the room, putting her scarf on her head and putting her coat on inside out. "It doesn't matter, darling. You go. At least you will have done the right thing. Go and see if she needs anything at all." "She doesn't deserve it," said Miriam, and she folded her arms and threw herself onto the sofa. I went to the front door and watched as Mom hurried out of our gate. She reached the ambulance just as they were wheeling Mrs. Rogers out on a stretcher. She was clutching her wrist and telling the paramedics how she had slipped in the bathroom. "I'm here with you," Mom said softly. "I mean, if you want." And then Mom put her hand out so Mrs. Rogers could hold it if she wanted. Mrs. Rogers looked really pale and scared. She said in a small voice, "John isn't here." And then she took Mom's hand and tried to smile. Later, Mom said that when Mrs. Rogers did that, it was easy to forget all about the rotten things that she had said. When Mom and Mrs. Rogers came home in a taxi a few hours later, Dad went over too to help Mrs. Rogers get settled. When they came back, he was grinning from ear to ear because he had heard Mrs. Rogers on the phone as they were leaving, saying, "My lovely neighbors help me, John. They're such good people, you know." And that is the end of Chapter 12. Okay, so it seems that Mrs. Rogers, the old lady next door, had a little bit of an accident. She slipped and fell in her bathroom, which can be very dangerous for people that are older. So the ambulance came, and while the ambulance was coming, Omar's mom went over to help her. Now, because they helped her, and then when they came back, Omar's dad and mom both helped her get settled in, she changed her mind about the neighbors, okay? So at first, she might have had these thoughts in her head about, you know, she didn't like the smell of their cooking, or she thought that they were loud and rude before. But now that they helped her when she was in need, she's saying what wonderful people they are. Okay, so it looks like Mrs. Rogers next door has changed her mind about Omar and his family living next door. And the next chapter that we will be reading is Chapter 13. See you guys then. Later.